Good.
Started with the outro. All right, so welcome to another episode of Slow Cooked Indignant Frogs. I'm your host, Kong. I don't have the intro here. So, we're going to try a new format, new host. In the past, in the past, it was me and T-Bone going off and just ranting about random things. And now we're going to turn this into a whole new format where it's more of a mastermind group. So we discuss certain things. We're going to talk about the goals that we're going to try and reach, and we're going to try to see what's working, what's not working, and then go from there. So let me introduce my host, Kujesok.
It's been first time here.
Yeah, sorry about that, man. I think I had you on mute.
Wouldn't be fun if there's no growth pain. So this is Gujay-suk. It's my first time here. I guess lots of things to consider on starting.
Let's see. All right, so so the reason why I gathered you here today, Gujay-suk, is for world domination. Well, specifically, the purpose of this mastermind group is to break through the trains of misery that the world has inflicted upon us poor individual souls. Here's a good picture to illustrate that. But yeah, specifically, what we're going to try to do with this podcast is we're going to try to find work-life balance. Now, there's two ways of doing it. Right? There's the philosophy of A, do what you love, or B, love what you do. Either way you go, I mean, by achieving a series of personal and professional goals, I think we can reach this goal. Now, hopefully in the future we can get some experts on the show. But
That'd be fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see. So let me start off with some of my personal goals. So I'm a person who likes to promote individualism. You know, I enjoy my freedom, and like I also enjoy the fact that I have the freedom to critically think about things. So at some point, I want to see if I can start a school that kind of promotes this sort of stuff to kind of get gather a group of people together and kind of train people with a sort of similar mindset, I guess.
Yeah.
Short of that. Now, the second goal I had was to go to Italy and to learn about the cradle of Western civilization. You know, because I pretty much have most of Asia covered down, and I figured, you know, now it's my time to kind of pivot. Since Obama is pivoting towards Asia, I might as well try to go the other way, get that covered.
Individualism, right?
What's up?
You know, that harkens back to individualism.
Yeah.
Government says go left, go right.
Yeah. But unfortunately, the problem is that I'm short of some money right now, and my options aren't doing so good. So that goal may have to be delayed a bit. But yeah, as far as what my commitment is towards these goals, I mean, like, really honestly, I can't go back, you know, to to recede means to die, pretty much, and that's what it means for me, at least. So I really have no choice but to move forward with a lot of these goals. I think one problem that I've had, well, I still kind of have, is dwelling in the past, but that also means that I'm wasting a lot of time in what I'm doing. So I need to find a way to just move on.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and even like with goals like going to Italy, that okay, let's say financially doesn't happen this year. That doesn't mean you can't move forward with it. You can't start getting stuff going and little breaking it down into smaller goals and saying, okay, this month I'm going to put X amount of dollars away, or this month I'm going to review places that I might want to go and start thinking about how long I want to spend, that sort of thing. So
yeah, exactly. So what about you, sir? What are some of your goals?
So I've I kind of want to I want to I guess maybe eventually elaborate on these a little bit more at some point, but first, improve health. This has probably been a continual goal, especially a challenge I faced in the corporation, because that's not actually the most healthy of places, strangely enough. But enhance my just become better habits with eating, exercise, and mental exercise. Something I'd like to probably take on is more meditation, consistent habits around that. Powerful people. So thinking.
Hold on, you kind of cut off there for a bit.
Huh?
You kind of cut off there after meditation.
Oh, it was cutting out?
Yeah.
Okay. What did I miss?
After meditation.
Okay. So yeah, as far as meditation goes, I'm not, I don't want to be a 5-hour a day meditator like a Buddhist monk, but something to maybe make my mind healthier and provide that mental exercise. Second, I kind of hate being tied down. Yeah, and the former corporation and my current one seems to be the case, or at least my feelings. So I just want to explore business options, find ways to maybe go out on my own, including multiple sources of income and savings. It's I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket. There's a lot of different things that I really enjoy doing, and even with my current work, I enjoy doing, but I want to not put it all in one area, because I feel if I just focus on one thing, I might not enjoy it after a while. So,
right, yeah.
And then work-life balance, make time for hobbies and diversify experiences, which I think in some ways actually kind of builds upon my previous two goals. It might be something I want to kind of tie in, is make my goals work for each other, but my hobbies could easily turn into business options or sources of income. Hobbies could even increase my health, or for instance, exercise could, depending on which way I go with the hobbies. But also just live, kind of do the things I want to do living. Like, if there's something around my area that is interesting, like not say, oh, I've got these 50 other obligations, I can't do that. No, let's make time. I want to make time for obligations that aren't necessarily financial.
Yeah. So let's see here. Okay, so I haven't exactly come up with the graphics or anything, but let's get to the hot seat. So I guess this is where we're gonna talk about the highs and lows of the weeks. So let's try to concentrate or tackle this from like a specific area of like, okay, so we've mentioned our goals, and then the highs of the week. How are we working towards those goals? And the lows would be like, what's stopping us from doing it? And so for me, let's see. Oh gosh, maybe I shouldn't have started with me. Maybe I should give myself more time and like start with you.
No, I can start. That's no problem.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see. Improve health. One of I guess my highs this past week is I've been a little bit more diligent in bringing my lunch to work, considering that I work from 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. Our cafe is closed, Not that the cafe actually has the best food in the first place, but bringing the food has been something I can actually control a lot better. I did kind of fail on Saturday. I did not make lunch, but I figure 4 days out of 5 is a vast improvement over what I've actually been doing so far. I really haven't started anything exercise-wise. I need to. Probably what I just really need to do is just start walking. Set some time during each day. Hold myself accountable. One of the things, Colin, that I'm going to look at doing is there's a couple apps that I'll start under this username and I'll share with you.
Yeah.
So that way you can help track and hold me accountable. You don't have to look at it all the time, but maybe every time we meet, you can just look at it and be like, Gujay suck, what the heck? What's that cheeseburger, or what's that, Big Mac? Not that I really eat those. Well, I eat cheeseburgers, but not Big Mac. But you get what I'm saying. You're like,
yeah.
Man, you only blogged that you went walking once this week. What's going on? So that way, I can hold myself accountable and maybe even have others if necessary. Business options. Honestly, I'm not really explored anything this week. My successes, though. So I'm currently taking programming classes. One of the, I don't know if it's how to play out, but at least it gives me options and skills. So I've seemed to be doing pretty good in this class. I obviously just finished my most recent assignment, and it seemed like I pretty much understood everything. And one of the things that I need to start doing is just start jotting down ideas. I may not have the conceptual how to get from point A to point B, but if I can write an idea down and then, have you ever done a mind map, Kong?
Well, yes, I have, but for what now?
For like any idea. So I think my goal going into the week is to start at least mind mapping ideas that I could potentially turn into business options. I really haven't been diligent on that. That's probably my biggest area of opportunity with my goals right now.
Okay.
Is my business options. And then
go ahead.
Go ahead if you're in a comment on
No, go ahead.
So I was going to move on to work-life balance. So far, I'm actually doing pretty good. This week, I'm actually quite happy. So one of the challenges of working until 11 p.m. is that, it's not, you can't just get off of work and then go to sleep. Right. As nice as that would be, it takes a little bit of time to wind down. I've generally been pretty consistent about going to bed between 1 a.m. and 2 a.m. And so I'm not, there's some people I work with that go to bed till like 5 a.m. So I'm not one of those. Right. What I've been pretty happy about this most recent week, though, is I've actually been very consistent at waking up around 9:30 in the morning. I don't set an alarm. I don't particularly like that idea, but I've been very consistent waking up. I feel refreshed starting my day. So I'm able to expand some things. Like I've been able to start reading a little bit more. I have more time to myself. Obviously, I can start getting some chores done a little bit earlier in the morning, and then I have time to relax just before going to work. So I've actually been quite proud of that.
That's good.
I don't want to set an alarm just simply because I kind of like not having to do that, and I don't really need it with my hours. But I wanted the one challenge I think I'm going to have, and maybe I guess you could call this the low, is I've done this in the past where I've woken up really consistently, but I need to make sure I'm consistent. That's the key. So I think what I really need to do is, like, if I wake up, and it's light out, where it's close enough to 9 a.m. or whatever, and just for the sake of wanting to stay in bed is not a reason to stay in bed. Like if I wake up and it's 3 in the morning for some reason, okay, well, I probably should continue trying to sleep. But right. If I wake up at 9:30, I can sleep until 10:30. No, I need to just get up. I need to force myself to get up and hold myself accountable to that. That way I have the time to do my hobbies. Like I've basically left a lot of things like reading and all that to the side just because, I'd sleep in and then I would be a little bit more rushed in my day, have to do chores and stuff, and then go to work. And, not do anything fun.
The thing about like sleeping in late, I do that too. Actually, this past week, I think it was Saturday, I think I woke up at 6:30, but I was still feeling really tired. I didn't get up, and then I just went back to sleep and woke up at 10. But then, that's like 4 hours of time I could have used for something else. So that's
Right. Yeah, and that's a good point. It's like, you know, so it's one thing I think if my sleep was disturbed in the middle of my sleep, like 4 in the morning or something, where I only had a few hours of sleep, and okay, but if it's early enough, even though I may be just a little tired, or um, it's not quite 9:30, I might as well get up, because on the flip side, I might gain that back by going to bed earlier that night. The only thing, as long as I don't interfere with being tired during my 8 hours of work, but
right. Yeah.
so.
Let's see.
Yeah, it's definitely a balance, but I'm glad this week I was very consistent. Today and yesterday were my days off, and I kept up with that as well. It was really easy, and generally those are days where it's more inclined. Oh, I'll sleep in a little bit more. I've got the rest of the day. Well, no, I don't. I don't want to lose that.
Yeah.
So
Okay, so let's see. So with me, let's see, highs and lows, and yeah, that's the problem is, I guess, for me, it's mainly been a lot of lows last week. We'll get into that in a bit. The highs, let me try and find a high. The high is that despite Chinese New Year's, because during the Chinese New Year's, there's a lot of things that you're not supposed to do. Like you can't take showers for X number of days or something like that. But it's like, you still kind of have to break it because you have to go outside and not smell like crap.
right.
Yeah, but like, you're not supposed to sweep the floors because that means you're going to sweep away your luck. So I tried to keep with that, for the first like 5 days, and then afterwards I was like, okay, back to sweeping floors. So that's one thing I've actually done persistently these past couple of months. Just getting up, making my bed, and then immediately sweeping the floor just to make sure things are tidy. Let's see. As far as contributing to the Italian stuff, like I said, my options are doing good, so that's more of a low right now. Let's see. Starting my business, that is one thing I've been, well, semi-consistent with. Every night or so, I dedicate at least 20, 30 minutes or so, and I
Mm-hmm.
hash out a business plan.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So I think that's the only high as far as the lows goes. Yeah. Let's see. The options. Oh man, that's killing me even today, man. Even today. Yeah. So I bought some options last week, and then one of the options, right, I was losing money. So then I
Mm-hmm.
was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna let this expire. But because I thought it was out of money, but it was actually in the money. But I was still gonna so if I sold it, then I still would have lost money on the fees.
Oh, right.
Yeah, but here's the problem. I thought, just letting it expire would be okay, right? No, because it was technically in the money, then it got exercised, which meant that I was obligated to buy those shares. I was like,
Oh, so
yeah.
now you're stuck with poor performing shares.
Um, yeah, they're not performing as good as they could be, but it's just a matter of time of waiting it out, hopefully. Um, but oh, geez, I mean, just the sheer amount of shares I had to buy, the cost was like
Oh,
$9,000, man.
oh,
Yeah, I was hurting pretty bad.
yeah. That ain't fun. I'm sure. Well, while that's not necessarily success, I'm sure you learned quite a few things about that.
Oh yeah, I learned more about trading options now, baby.
Hey, sometimes you gotta take the hard lessons, right?
Yeah, that was definitely a hard lesson right there.
Yeah.
But it's weird because then, like, now I have the shares, so I'm like, okay, well maybe I should start selling some options. But then when I tried to do that, my broker wouldn't let me, and I'm like, I guess there's still more to learn. So uh,
Mm.
let me drop that subject for now before I get into it.
Start
Um,
having to get a box of tissues or something.
oh, seriously, man, I really wanted to cry. But um, let's see, some other lows that I have not been good with, because aside from sweeping the floors, aside from making my bed, my entire apartment is still disorganized. I have a lot of crap. I have a lot of things that just sit on the desk. They just pile up, and a lot of stuff is just disorganized. And I need to come up with some goals and some deadlines as to how to clean it and like what to do and all that.
Yeah, that's a challenge I also face. I did sweep my kitchen this morning or today though. I did not make my bed. So, I think even though you can say that those are lows, I think your success with sweeping the floors, making your bed, is the right progression. I think you're quite successful with that. I have not been so successful myself as far as that goes, but all you need to do is just start adding one little extra thing, or maybe like I was thinking about it as I was sweeping, and then I mopped my kitchen, and I was like, if I was more diligent, maybe sweep once a day, or once every other day, whatever the case may be is needed. And then mop once a week. I was like, if I could start adding little things like that, it might be a little easier to handle and tackle.
Right.
And that might be a way you go too. I am the same way organization-wise. My girlfriend kind of pointed out she's got nowhere to set anything down. Well, I mean, it's not like every square inch is covered, but that's the idea. It's cluttered and unorganized, and I got stuff everywhere.
Right.
So, which is always amazing when I think that I used to live in a smaller apartment. So,
Yeah.
I think, but I would say, Kong, that you're quite successful with what you were doing. I would call that a success, man. You're starting the good habits off, right? It's just a matter of adding to the habits.
I think for me, it's that these things are, they're slightly easier because it's the same motion. So it's actually because it's so monotonous, it's almost somewhat meditative in a certain way, So that's why, at least for me, it makes it easier to do. But then, when you're talking about organizing stuff, then you gotta think okay, well, should I dump this? Should I keep this? Okay, well, if I'm keeping it, where should I put it? And then I just get in this issue of thinking too much about it, and I know I should just be cleaning and cleaning, but then when I just start putting things away or putting things in a different pile that just looks more organized, then I'm just shifting things into a different area, So
yeah, so maybe defining spaces for certain things and they only stay in one area.
Yeah, I tried that, and then it just
Yeah.
It's kind of like how if you eat, maybe you should have just a dining table and a dining area to eat at. But I mean, single people were like, whatever, in the bed,
right,
on the couch, whatever. I'm gonna eat anywhere.
Yeah. We might have to explore options. I mean, I'm sure we're not the only ones that have ever faced organizational challenges.
Yeah.
With stuff. So I mean, But I think one of probably the biggest things is just being habitual and okay, I use this time to put it back where it belongs.
Right.
So, but yeah, I mean, we may. I'll see if I can start reading on maybe a little more home organizational type of stuff. And honestly, I think a lot of it also comes down to just getting rid of stuff you don't use. One of my friends from Albuquerque, she was just posting, I think on Facebook today, that she's getting rid of
Hold on, you just
video, which was, yeah, it might be my blue.
Okay.
So a friend of mine on Facebook from Albuquerque, she was posting that she's getting rid of 80% of her clothing because she doesn't use it. Yeah, it's probably one of that either worn ever or worn once. So, I think one way to do that too is just take stock of stuff, and as you go through it, when was the last time that you used it? When was the last time that you remember using it? Do you need to keep it and maybe sell it, or find a better place for it, so to speak?
Yeah, I don't know. Most of the stuff that I do have, I mean, there's a lot of sentimental value. For me,
Sure.
There's a lot of sentimental value. But then on top of that, for me to sell it away to someone else, I'm not going to really get a whole lot of value out of that. So it's like, you can't make money off of it, and I just can't keep it. But then to throw it away is kind of like,
I know it's like a damned if you do, damned if you don't. Are you going to get? So you might get like not even pennies on the dollar,
right.
but throwing it away is even more wasteful.
Yeah.
Yet you don't use it, and it's got maybe limited utility. And even especially if it doesn't even have like sentimental value, it's just like, well, I might use it one day. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. There's that, and also, I mean, because I've bitten myself in the rear end just trying to downsize and throw things away, and then when the time came, like I actually needed that. I'm like, oh, jeez.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think it's still a big challenge. Like my friend in Virginia with the bed and breakfast. Did I ever talk to you? Well,
Yeah,
he's the
you
one
did
with
mention
he's
it to me.
the one with the goal book.
Yeah.
Well, like they have a 2-car garage that's just full of stuff. They can't even park their cars in there, and it's just because he's got a ton of stuff. And obviously in his case, he's got 9 acres, 11 acres of land, I think. So they're building a shop so he can put more stuff somewhere. But it's like, we were looking for a cable when I was out there because they wanted to use my laptop to watch a movie or something like that with the kids.
Yeah.
And we were looking. He's got bins of just old cables, and it's I don't know. Now he was fairly organized with it. I will give him that. But it's like, what's the utility in keeping all of that versus
like, whoa, printer cables.
Right. Like, now, I mean, there's always the potential, and I guess depending on what he may needs, you can tear up on the cables and use the wiring for something, but still it's like, I don't know. And that's something I have to do too, because I've got a lot of stuff that, from different computers or electronics or stuff that I moved, and I have old power supplies and stuff, and I'm like, should I go through this, or should I keep it? Should I at least find some sort of use for it? And I don't know. It's a challenge, but I agree with you. It's a challenge because you can't predict necessarily if I get rid of that screwdriver today, am I going to need it tomorrow? Now, granted, I'm not going to get rid of a screwdriver, but I think that's an easy example that anybody can understand. So.
Yeah. So, let's see. I think we should. So we've mentioned our lows, and these are the things that are preventing us from, doing the simple task of getting our place organized. So, what action are you going to take this week so that you can work towards any of your goals, whether it's cleaning or whatever?
So this week, I think what I'm really going to do is, for the basic activities that I need to do every day or every week, is kind of taking a page from my friend, and we can probably go over this more next time. He has his every night he gets like his to-do list for tomorrow. He writes that down, and then he'll mark it off. So I think I don't want to necessarily be so repetitive. I'm all for automating stuff that I don't have to do all the time, but kind of see if I can make either, even if it's just a basic spreadsheet at this point. Maybe I can get it fancier in this next year, but just something where I can say, okay, these are the basic activities that I'm going to have to do, like maybe every day sweep the floor, every day make my bed, once or twice a week prepare my lunches for work, those sort of things. Did I do my dishes every day, or as needed? But I think that the redundant things, make my bed, sweep my floors, and then I can start adding things as I realize, oh, this is something I do every day, like, let me add that to the list, or this is something I should do every day or every week, and start making a list that at the end of every day I can just say, yep, I did that. And then if I didn't do it, I can hold myself accountable and say, oh man, I didn't make my bed this morning, let's highlight that, and that way I can start looking for success. I mean, it's almost like making a measurement of it.
Yeah.
Or a business metric, so to speak. But just something I can identify and hold myself accountable. I mean, right now I can tell you all last week I didn't make my bed. But if I did make my bed once, I probably couldn't even told you that.
Right.
So, at least let me identify where I'm successful and where I'm not successful, and maybe I can start hold myself to the better habits.
Okay.
So,
Let's see. For me, there's a money issue, but
right.
I'll crack that down next week. For now, let me start with the immediate issue of the getting things organized. I think by the end of this week, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some cleaning supplies, clean up the bathroom.
Hmm.
But then to actually get organized, I think I'm going to just concentrate on specific corners. So like I'll start off with the kitchen first, get that cleared out of the way, and then maybe work on the other areas, and then see if I can actually get at least a a single counter space empty. And if I can do that, I think I will have reached that one goal. So.
Yeah, that's a good. How many counters does your kitchen have?
I mean, just one counter, but I mean like any sort of like horizontal surface. So like my
Okay.
tables, my shelves, or whatever. Like as long as I can get at least one horizontal space empty and like not cluttered, unless it's like organized, then like I'm good to go.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good idea because you start off, um, you start off with something easy but also observable. Like you can see, if you walk into the room and you're like, there's nothing cut, everything's covered. Like, oh, I didn't need
Right.
that.
Yeah.
Versus, hey, my dresser has nothing on top of it. Of course, I'm staring at it right now, and it's got stuff on top of it. But it's something observable, and it's quite achievable without having to, go from 0 to 60 right
Yeah.
away. So no, I think that's a fantastic goal. It's,
Okay. So this is going to be the tough part. Um, So that we've basically covered our mastermind session just now, like the actual debating of the how we're going to do things and all that, and then the um, declaring what it is we're going to do. But high leverage. This section, we're going to have to try to wrap up the thing by trying to keep each other accountable. So how do you want
mhm.
me to keep you accountable for your goal, and how are you going to keep me accountable of mine?
Well, I think it actually can be quite easy. So, for instance, let's say by next Sunday, we'll do our weeks. Maybe since we're starting our podcast on Mondays, we can do our weeks like Monday through Sunday.
Yeah.
So that way we have full 7 days. So maybe by next Sunday I'll have, and it's going to be pretty rudimentary, but basically the spreadsheet of this week's goals, the sort of like guaranteed I need to do daily type of goals.
Yeah.
My whether or not I did them, So I guess what I'll probably do tonight, I don't think it should be too hard, but at the very least I can make the recurring weekly goals on a spreadsheet, and then just as I go through the week, did I do them? Did I not do them? I'll just have a little legend, and I can share that with you at the end of the week.
Okay.
And then maybe for you, take a picture or something of all your.
Yeah, I'm gonna
I don't know.
flood your
What do
Facebook
you?
feed.
No, you can send them to my email account, the UJ stuff one. But no, I mean, what do you think would be? Because so yours is a little bit different measure.
Yeah, I think. Well,
Um,
no, I think what you just mentioned. I mean, I don't have to flood your Facebook feed, but yeah, I can
yeah.
send you a picture, and then
Well,
it'll
send
be.
them to the email account we're using right here. This
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah, yeah.
perfect.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
So yeah, like here's my table. Bam.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that would be pretty good. And then we can discuss it. We can talk about maybe the things we learned and how we're going to build upon that goal, or how it's helping move us to the next step. So
Yeah. So okay. Let's see. Last section. resources. Do you have any like blogs that you read, podcasts that you watch or listen to, or like any other books or websites that you think may be a good resource for you?
So it's kind of weird. I don't know why I just started getting into it. One of my coworkers looks at it at work a lot, which probably shouldn't do. But Reddit. Are you familiar with Reddit?
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah. So I finally actually went in and set up myself an account, and I've set it so like I can look at the things that I'm very specifically interested in. Now it's going to be it could potentially be a problem. I could see just considering that it can be a very good time sink. Um, but I've mainly focused on a lot of the technology stuff that I'm currently working on doing or interested in. So I've been able to either see what other people are doing. I learned one of my favorite Linux distributions just got hacked, so that was kind of good to know. So I might change my preference on them.
Yeah.
Linux Mint, by the way, a Debian or Ubuntu kind of fork.
Yeah.
Their website got hacked on, I think the 20th it was. I don't know. I would
recent.
Google that instead of quoting me. Yeah, their website got hacked, and someone uploaded ISOs with backdoors into them. So, right, yeah, obviously. So that was very good to know. I actually am not currently using one of their distributions, but I've used them quite a lot in the past. So that might change my preference. I learned that on Reddit. I've also kind of been able to use it to just kind of get an idea of what other people are doing hobby wise, especially with like the Arduino and Raspberry Pis, which has been I've saved some of the projects that they've done. So once I get some of my homework set aside this week, I might actually start looking into one of those projects. Oh, that video you liked on my Facebook with the typewriter?
Yeah.
I found that on Reddit. Yeah.
Nice.
So I don't know if I'd go that way. I did email it to my friend in Virginia, and he was like, "Well, he's like, it might just be easier to dictate to a computer." And I was like, "Oh, there's probably a learning experience, but
yeah, I think it's the sheer fact that you can do something like that. I think there's a huge learning value to that more than anything else.
Yeah, I'm sure it got that person a job, or it could if they did that. If they're like, here's a bunch of YouTube videos of the stuff I can do. Oh, you're hired. So, not a bad idea.
Yeah. Oh, but back to that thing on so like I like the idea that you're using Reddit and social media as a sort of news source, because that's basically what I do with my Google Plus, Facebook, Twitter. I just subscribe to people that have any sort of like news value. So any sort of like news sources, that's mainly who I subscribe to.
Yeah, and maybe I should make a non-personal Facebook account, because, I'm not going to go and just unfriend all my friends that, honestly, most of them I could really care less what they post on Facebook.
Right.
There was a nice guy that I used to work with who's very, very religious, nothing wrong with that, but is very oriented that direction, and I'm just like, I don't particularly want to see it. Granted, I can hide those posts, but sometimes he may post stuff that I'm interested in. So I don't really, my current news feed is a little less, it's more of a waste of time.
Right, yeah.
But I was thinking about that with Twitter too. I don't actually use Twitter, but you're right. Like there was an AMA on Reddit this morning about a guy who's a video game lawyer.
Yeah.
And apparently he posts on Twitter a lot. And I'm interested in games and all that. I probably would never create one, but what's really interesting about him is he talks about, intellectual property, copyright, trademarks, all stuff, if I want to get into business, would be very important. So it may be worth kind of seeing what he has to say.
So does he only post on Twitter, or is it mainly like he has a little statement, but then usually there's a link to like a major blog post of his?
Let me see if I can find his Twitter again. I think he's got his own. Well, he's got a website for his attorney, for his law office, law practice. Yeah. Let me see here.
Because, at least that's the way I'm using it here with this account. Basically, I post out. Once I make the blog post, then what I usually do is I post it onto Google Plus and Facebook, and whoever reaches, hey, that's great. But of course, there's not a whole lot of followers right now, so that's my
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that can be a challenging. And obviously, he's got like 18,000 followers on Twitter, so he's quite.
Right.
Um, so he does post. He links to his law office website quite a bit. It looks like he's got a blog on there. Interesting. So
Yeah,
he's got quite a lot of articles. I'll email you the link to his office website and his Twitter.
yeah, because what I would do is, I mean, since most of the stuff you're looking up is a lot like very much tech oriented.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Twitter's good. Reddit's really good because you get a lot of the new stuff. But then,
Well, you can also filter Reddit really well, which is what I did not know until basically 3 days ago.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I haven't used Reddit, and I should really get on that. But Google Plus, I mean, because a lot of the techie crowd is all on Google Plus. It's a really good news source.
Huh. I will look into that.
Yeah.
I'll probably. I've considered LinkedIn as well, but I'm a little wary on that too. Probably just because I probably get random job offers for shit I don't even qualify for.
Oh man, if I had that problem, then it wouldn't be an issue. But LinkedIn, LinkedIn actually isn't bad. I think it's just over bloated. But I think they're kind of headed in the right direction. But that's an issue for another day. Anyways,
Sure.
yeah. Regarding your Linux stuff, I don't know if you've ever heard of this one, but let's see, present to everyone. Bowtie Linux.
So off the top of my head.
Yeah, like Mint, it's actually they're both based off of Ubuntu, but from all the tests that I've seen, this is pretty low resource. So
It would be kind of fun to work with. I set up a server running CentOS and KVM, and I can pretty much build anything I want as a virtual machine. So
yeah.
Next week I'm going to order more RAM. That should put me at 64 gigabytes, so I should be able to.
Nice.
Yeah, it's not too bad. It's where my kitchen table used to be. Priorities.
Yeah.
No, I might have to download this and check it out. Put it on a VM somewhere. So.
Let's see here. So my recommendation would actually be, let me present to everyone. You see here. So I introduced you to the 4-hour work week, right?
Yes. I like his blog. I haven't read it as much lately, but always has good stuff.
Yeah, he does have a lot of good stuff. Have you ever listened to his podcast?
Yeah, they're actually quite entertaining.
Yeah. I mean, honestly,
that's mostly what his blog seems to be these days, is him just posting updated podcasts. So.
Right, yeah. Honestly, when I was first listening to his podcast, it was this was honestly the first podcast that I've ever listened to that I thought like, oh wow, I actually learned something, Right.
He's he's very. That is one thing about him, whether you necessarily agree with all his methods,
right,
or not, is he is pretty good at kind of, and this is what he kind of claims himself to be, is distilling to the facts, or breaking down things to what you really need to know. What was it? The essential elements of information.
Yeah.
So he is really good at that, and he gets some pretty. I don't know if one of my favorite ones that he had was Schwarzenegger.
Oh yeah.
Was actually a pretty good podcast. I learned more than I thought I would, and he's got Edward Norton. I might have to.
Well, for me personally, I didn't think that the one with Edward Norton was all that great. I mean, it wasn't bad. It's always good, but Edward Norton was okay. But I prefer the ones where I can actually take some information out of it, like Josh Whiteskin, the chess prodigy. I thought that was a good one. And
yeah. Well, yeah, and there was a gal. Gosh, I cannot remember her name. Who does a blog? He did, and she was pretty good. I'll have to look at the. I need to maybe look at more of his podcasts, but.
The episode with Jamie Foxx, that was another. That was pretty good.
Yeah. So no, he's got a lot of good stuff. even a lot of the people he brings on then also have some good stuff. Some of them it's Maria Popova was the writing workflow and workabouts blog that was pretty good, but and not everybody that he necessarily has seems to have a lot of stuff, but generally speaking, like you can even find people that you would not have known about,
Right.
from his blog, or a podcast.
Yeah, there's only certain ones I'm gonna save, but like others like that interview he had with Glenn Beck. Yeah, I'm not gonna save that one, but some of the other ones.
Right. Well, I mean.
Oh, did you listen to that? The not this latest one, but the one before that, the Meet Scorpion, the real life Santa Claus.
No, I haven't actually. That's probably one of the hobbies that I kind of let way to the side. I used to listen to one of his blogs maybe once or twice a week,
right?
And I just kind of stopped. So, and part of that's my fault. Most of it's my fault. I probably used being, dating as an excuse, which really wasn't her fault because I only see her on my weekends. So,
right. No. For me, what I do is, I'd like to. Maybe it's a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know. I tend to multitask quite a bit. So, if I'm driving, I'll put on a podcast, or if I'm walking, and usually if I walk, I'm going to walk for like a really long time, and I'll be listening to podcasts as well. Yeah, but like walking, that might be a good thing for you if you want. Yeah, because for me at least, right, at the pace that I walk, to get to the 10,000 step goal, that takes about an hour and 37 minutes, roughly. Yeah.
That could be one of his podcasts, because his podcasts are quite long.
Oh, yeah. I think the shorter ones tend to be like maybe 40 minutes or something like that. But yeah, they're pretty long, like sometimes an hour and a half, 2 hours even.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard about the 10,000 step goal.
I have. Generally speaking, is like I don't know that there's a whole lot of scientific evidence, but it's better than nothing. And that's probably a good goal. I should check and see if my phone has a pedometer. Or at least I can buy a little Fitbit or something. But
oh no, don't buy a Fitbit. Full disclosure, I do have positions in them, and oh geez, that's another. Oh god. Anyway,
I was just thinking of current employer discounts.
Yeah. I think there was a thing.
Well, there is a tracking application that can track your mileage. That too. It's not too bad.
Yeah, the one Google Fits application is not all that accurate unless you have the watch. And then the Fitbit. I think their pedometer is good, but then they have an issue with their heart rate monitors.
Interesting.
Yeah, this just came out like 2 days ago. Yeah, like there's like some sort of class action lawsuit.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Let's see. Well, so that's my general recommendation. And then to get back to some of the things that you were talking about before, another thing actually that I learned on the Tim Ferriss podcast, I guess he says if you have trouble sleeping, I guess before you go to bed, take something with some protein. So, yeah, you may not necessarily want to chow down on some steak before you go to sleep.
Yeah, that could cause other issues, but just a little bit of protein. Huh.
Yeah, like so like anything. Well, there's a lot of things that can have protein, like a glass of milk, string cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, hard-boiled egg or something,
Right. Yeah. So. Although with eggs, don't overdo them. Of course, no more than like 2 a day.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. So let's see here. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So I guess I will end this episode, and then I'll upload it onto the website, and it'll be on YouTube.
Cool. Yeah, and I'll get to work on some of what I said I'd hold myself accountable to, and we can definitely discuss that next week.
All right, cool. All right, let's.
All right, Colin.
Yep.
Well, have a good one.
Yep. See ya.